Kat, you want to say what park you're from, and we'll.
We're Frontier Trampoline Park in Cheyenne, Wyoming.
Yeah.
We have about 62,000 people in our city.
Okay.
That's not including outlying cities.
Yeah, well, that's great. And if you're willing, we'll post your contact email or something.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
and
anything we can do to help anybody, or if you have questions or what didn't work for us, and I'm more than happy to chat with y'all.
Yeah. How about a couple of questions that people had? Are you allowing people to bring in their socks from last time, previous? Or are you trying to buy new ones?
I mean, we're cleaning trampolines and cleaning everything so often that anything that was there is not there. So the health department, I mean, we sat down. Obviously, we were only open for a little while, so we actually had really good contacts at the health department, and so we maintained constant conversation with them and making sure that we ask any question that we're unsure of. They said the socks wasn't a problem.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
how about foam pits? What's been the response to your customers to foam pits?
So like most of y'all, one day a week we'll empty the entire foam pits and we'll clean them. But we've been through this whole thing. We actually go through and spray the foam pits in our half an hour buffer of cleaning. Obviously, we can't clean an entire foam pit in 30 minutes and let them dry and all of that. And so the health department said, as long as we are, doing the 30-minute cleaning and just spraying what we can, they didn't have any issues with it. So.
And the 25 per hour, is that a self-limitation or is that a state limitation?
No, that's our county regulation. We are not allowed to have any more than 25.
And they'll update that on a weekly basis? How have they communicated to you guys?
So they do the governor does a press conference every week and he'll set dates. So he set the 25 limit May 16th. We were hoping it was going to get lifted to at least 50 May 31st, but that didn't happen. He actually extended it out until June 15th. So we just watch them press conferences every week.
Yeah, you never thought you'd be logging on to Cheyenne so often, did you?
Yes.
Dave is asking, have you seen or heard any kind of repetitive or consistent concerns from customers, either reaching out through social media or in response to having actually shown up in person?
No, it's been crazy. Like, I thought for sure we were going to get a lot of hate, like, oh, how dare you open up? But we've actually received the opposite. And so we've not had a person complain, to be honest. They interviewed one lady for the news interview we did a couple weeks ago, and they had interviewed her. She was a mom and they're bringing her kids, and she actually said, I didn't really care about the COVID stuff to begin with, so this doesn't even really bother me. However, they're cleaning and taking the extra precautions. And so we've been very forthcoming of our process. It's all posted on our website, what we do, how we clean everything. And so I think for the most part, like I said, Wyoming people are just a different breed. And, we have the group of people that are very, very concerned about their health. And then the majority of people here are, let's get these businesses open kind of thing. So yeah, I don't know.
What about, how about your hours? What have you chosen for your hours?
So we actually, when we first opened on the 16th, we were open all day long. And because we thought we were going to be busy, so we're like, oh, the more hours, that's 25 people per hour, we're going to hit, we'll at least be able to make some money so we can pay the bills. But that didn't happen. So we were getting maybe 5 people 1 hour, 4 people 1 hour. So we actually just condensed all of our hours from 1 to 7, Tuesday through Friday, and Sunday, and then Saturday 10 to 8. So that seems to be working very well for us right now.
Okay. And how many Saturdays have you had open? Just the one?
3.
3 Saturdays?
Yep.
And how many hours would you say you're hitting 25 on a Saturday?
This past Saturday we had 5 hours at max capacity at 25.
Okay.
So.
And are you seeing people walk up at all and having to turn them away, or?
We get a lot of phone calls, which is great because that gives us the opportunity to let people, hey, go online, book your ticket online so you can secure your spot. So we've been able to kind of mitigate that problem. But the majority of people that come in that walk in, thank God we're not at max capacity and we just sell them a ticket and they go jump. But a handful of times we've had to turn people away because of max capacity.
Understood. I imagine their understanding of that.
Yeah, I've only gotten yelled at
It's always
once.
tough to turn away a kid for a trampoline park, but
yeah, I've only gotten yelled at once, so it hasn't been too bad.
Yeah, understand. How are you handling future birthday parties? Have you selected a date that you're going to allow to book, or are you still waiting?
So once our governor ups the capacity to at least 50, we'll definitely open birthday parties back up for booking. Most people that email or call or hit us up on our Facebook are super understanding about the birthday parties, and so that's been helpful. I did a lot of calculations and math on will it be beneficial for us to have birthday parties to book. It's not, unfortunately. So and that's for us. I can't speak for anybody else, but for what our traffic looks like and what we're doing, not having the birthday parties seems to be okay for us right now.
Just to clarify, when you say you have 25, you're able to sell 25 tickets. How many people can you have in your building?
It's 25. So we've gotten mixed reviews from the health department because they say the employees don't count if they're working in the kitchen. But I've talked to our city epidemiologist and everything, and she's like, well, for restaurants it doesn't count for employees, the count doesn't count for employees, so you guys technically have a restaurant in your facility, so it's a real gray area. So I'm like, you know what, we're just going to do 25, and if they come down on us, then we'll change it. But they don't have a real clear answer for us on that, and so it is what it is.
And have you seen anybody from local or state come by your facility?
No, but like I said, we have a pretty good relationship with them, and they know we're trying really hard to make sure that we're doing things the right way. They just can't give me a clear answer on the employee count. So understandably
so. It's kind of probably tough for them to try and figure that out too. Do you have a soft play at Frontier?
We not like a lot of the parks do. Like, I know Kim, she's on here from Sky's the Limit. They have a very large, hi Kim. They have a very large soft play area. We don't have anything like that. We have some soft play Legos and things like that, but we haven't limited the kiddie court area at all.
Okay. All right. Kim, are you guys open? Are you, Kim? I can't hear you. Hang on. Gotta unmute yourself.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, now I can hear you. Hey, Kim.
Yep. Open yet. We have actually had to work with our state chamber of commerce and our local chamber of commerce to get through to our governor. We had submitted our reopening proposals to him. He wasn't looking at them. And so we've gone through and worked with the president of the Kentucky Chamber of Commerce, and as well as some other parks here in Kentucky. And they have worked really hard to get us to be considered as like a gym, like a fitness center. And so we also own a fitness center as well. And so our fitness center just opened yesterday, June 1st. And so we're following very similarly to the fitness center guidelines. We plan on opening on June 18th. We wanted, because we just got this okay from our Chamber of Commerce last week. So we're kind of using our fitness center guidelines, which is we're allowed to have 33% capacity in our park. And fortunately, which I was starting to hate our governor, but it sounds like I may not be in the worst shoes compared to like that. We can only have 25 people in our park. So we're going to operate at 33% capacity, and our employees do not count as part of that capacity, which is, I'm grateful for that. We are going to close down every hour. We're going to offer 1 hour jump tickets, and then close down every hour and have 30 minutes of cleaning in between. very similar to CAT. We have Cintas that provides all of our chemicals and things like that. And so we have our fog machine, but we also have like this backpack sanitizing spray that we can use, intermittently throughout. We are going to. I'm sorry, my kid's coming.
Got a coworker there.
Yes, you can have that. We can. Sorry. We also are. So in order to keep our staff, because payroll expenses obviously are such a huge cost with parks, having to have staff man almost every attraction, for insurance purposes. So we are going to close down and alternate on a 30-minute rotating schedule, like our climbing walls, our wipeout, our zip line, and like trapeze areas and things like that. So that way people can still have access to all of our attractions, but we can still close down and clean in between periodically, and we can rotate those employees around so that way we don't have to have as many employees on staff. So that's, and we're recommending that staff or that customers that are not jumping wear masks in our common areas, but we're not going to turn away any business if they don't.
Yeah. Okay, it's a little hard to hear you. So I appreciate. I caught most of what you had to say, and appreciate you kicking in there. So thank you. Ken, I did have a question around. Someone asked about insurance. Were you able to? There you go. See any reduction in your insurance, Kat?
No, but our insurance company was actually really cool. And for the 2 months that we were closed, they just extended our policy. We didn't have to pay those 2 months. And so that was super helpful. So I guess, yeah, you could call that a reduction, but it was mainly just, we're going to skip these 2 months and then just tack them on to the back end.
Yeah. And then just kind of clarifying a little bit more on your 25, is that
Sure.
just that was independent of the size of your facility? Your state said 25 people?
Just per building. So I tried to apply for a variance because our building is so large, to say, can we do because in the beginning when all this stuff started happening in March, they were doing amount of people per 120 square feet. So I was really trying to get them. And I understand, we need to be safe. We need to be cautious. This isn't about making money. But as Mike Thomas understands, he was open a week. We were open 32 days. So we were drowning at that point. And so I tried to apply for a variance when they let us open back up. But I actually know the state epidemiologist. And so she was like, I love you, but we can't go back to what the orders were with 120 square feet. So.
Right. I appreciate that. Have you seen, you said I think this past Saturday you had maybe 5 hours that you had at your 25 capacity. Have you seen that grow week over week? I mean, can you?
Yeah. So
going the right way?
Yeah, it's definitely going this way, which is great. The first week we were open, we were scared because we only had 100 jumpers that whole weekend, and so we were very fearful. We thought, crap, maybe we made the wrong decision. We should have just stayed closed. But over the time, it's been increasing about 100 people every weekend. We see about 100 people more. So
that's great. And
it's been good.
Yeah, and I mean, thank you for being brave. I mean, you chose to open up at 25. I mean, that's a go no go number that some people may choose to, and there's no right or wrong answer. But I think the courage you guys showed in doing so has really helped maybe some other people.
And it's been hard, like Kim was saying, with the insurance company, to make sure our attractions are covered, and we do shut Wipeout down, and we'll have our staff rotate. And so it's been an adjustment for our staff. I think they've had a hard time because we were balls to the walls for 30 days. It was fun. There was a lot of people, and now it's just, okay, we're kind of just standing around and cleaning all the time. And so it's definitely been an adjustment for everybody.
Mm-hmm. Most of your staff came back that you had originally hired?
Yeah, what we did with the staff is, and everybody was super supportive. So our state, you know, if they make more on unemployment than they would bringing them back to like a very minimal amount of hours, they can actually stay on unemployment. And so I gave our staff that option. If they were on unemployment, you know, they don't have to come back until we're back up to full capacity. And then I also gave priority of shifts to individuals that didn't have a job at all, because we had a lot of employees that had second jobs or went out and got a different job, you know, while we were closed. And so everybody's been super understanding of that. So we've just been trying to really prioritize people's shifts with people that don't have a job and who have families.
Yeah. Someone asked about pricing. Did you do anything with your pricing?
Nope, we left the pricing exactly the same. To be honest, we can't really afford to do anything with the pricing.
Right.
So yeah, we just left it the same.
Yeah.
We don't do any specials though. We're not doing any, we call our party night Galaxy nights. We're not doing any Galaxy nights, no toddler time, no sensory hours,
Right.
none of that until all this stuff goes away.
Got it. And are most people just, are you giving them one option to buy a 1 hour ticket and that's it?
Yeah, we have some people that'll go online and buy 2 hours, you know, which is, we're not going to discriminate against that. You know, we appreciate the support, and if they want to go out and buy 2 hours in a row, we're not going to, it's fine.
Got it.
So somebody in the questions was asking about if you had a soft play or not, and if anybody does, and how you're going about letting people in and out of a soft play.
Yeah. We talked a little bit about, Kat doesn't have a specific one. And then,
Yeah, we don't have a soft play area like a lot of y'all do. And I don't know if she has any idea how she's going to manage the soft play area, because I know they have a pretty large soft play.
yeah. Are there others that have a soft play? No, it's a tight, large area that lots of little kids run around in. Go ahead, somebody.
We have a soft. This is Kim. We have a soft play area, and we're, like I said, we're treating it like our gym guidelines, and we're just posting a lot of signage to cover our tails, and just going to say, you know, customers must maintain 6 feet social distancing guidelines. You know, things like that, and, you know, kind of monitor it. And if they don't, we'll say something, but we're not gonna, I mean, we don't stick anybody there right now to monitor soft play, because we expect parents to monitor that, their kids in there. And so we're just gonna kind of do the same thing and just put up tons of signage to cover us, saying, you know, what we recommend.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Awesome.
And one thing too, that might be helpful for y'all, and I don't know if you guys
Thank
thought about
you.
it, but we've updated our waiver to make sure it says, like, I don't feel ill, or I haven't been around anybody who's had symptoms. Our attorney is, you know, wrote up all these different scenarios to put in the waiver just to cover our behinds, even though our state did pass a law that we are not held responsible, but it's still something I wanted in the waiver. So
Yeah, no, definitely some recommendations that we've heard about having that put in there.
Yeah.
Which means, are you asking every customer whether they've been there or not in that first month to re-sign it?
No, it's just ever since this COVID stuff opened, or, you know, happened, and then we reopened. So, I mean, eventually they'll sign it when their year's up, but we're not going to do the recon to go back and make everybody sign it.
Sure, makes total sense. Hey, John, you were asking about automating the colored band dispensing. You want to clarify, ask that a little out loud?
Hi there. Yeah, it was just something we looked at to reduce the amount of time that people have to spend with staff. It was like an auto registration that they can book online, and then just come in and punch in a key code or scan a QR code, and the machine will auto dispense their bands. We've kind of been looking at that, so people don't have to come up and stand at the counter a meter away, or put up these guards that we're looking at just now. So just less exposure really for staff.
Right. Yeah. if you have some experience in that, be glad to have you type that in the comments. If you have a provider or someone that you've looked into, give other the opportunity to consider that. That'd be helpful.
Yeah, I could look at that. I mean, it's still something we're looking at doing. We've looked at it before, and it was really, where we're looking at staff costs, during the week or evenings when things are quieter, and also weekends for people that have pre-booked so they don't have to stand in a queue, versus the people that, that they just come in and they don't want to book online, they just want to turn up. So sometimes that causes us problems. You get angry customers saying, why do I have to wait for this person that's not booked? So that's why we've looked at it in the past, and it's something we haven't done it yet, but we're looking into it. It's something we're thinking about.
Yeah. Has your park opened back up, John?
No, in the UK, as you know, Scotland, England, Ireland, and Wales have all got devolved governments. So each government is doing their own, their own kind of thing, a roadmap to open, and a lot of that is because of we're all at different states of this R-curve thing. So England's opened up before we have, so we're just kind of waiting to see what happens there. In Scotland, we are classed as phase 3. We're currently at phase 1, so supermarkets, garden centres, these kind of places can open. Mm-hmm. And then phase 2, they'll start to open up some more sort of non-essential shops, and then phase 3 will start to be in your gyms, leisure centres, and that type of thing, which we would fall into. So we're a couple of phases away, so we're presuming at least another couple of months before we can look at opening.
Okay. Well,
so we're gonna wait to see what happens in England. Well, we're obviously looking to see what happens across the world and with you guys in the States, and then hopefully England will open up before we do. So we'll see what the trampoline parks there do, what kind of response they get, and then we'll try and tailor our park best we can.
Awesome. Thanks, John, and good luck. Thanks for your comments. And like I said, if you've investigated some of what you're looking at, feel free to put in a website in the comments, and we'll share that out.
Yeah. See if I can have a quick look. Yeah.
Okay. Hey, Kat, did you most of your people, I think, because you wanted them to register online, did so, but were you offering cash payments?
Yeah, I mean, yes, but we don't see a lot of them because most of the people do book online. One of the other precursors to having them do the online booking is it would be a lot of less cash exchange. But we do have sanitizer pumps for our employees. If they do accept cash, they're supposed to be sanitizing. So, and asking the customer who handed them the cash to also sanitize before they walk off.
Yeah, and when you opened, did you have contactless payment?
No.
Like Apple Pay?
No.
You haven't added that?
We wipe every time after a credit card transaction or anything, anywhere the person touches, our staff working the cash register would go and wipe. So.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you.
Jim Herta has his hand raised, so.
Go ahead, Jim.
Feel free.
Hey, Jim. All right. Well, Jim was just wanting to know, and I'm not aware of everybody who's on the call, but is there someone on the call that's in a more metropolitan area that's been already open to the public that would be willing to share? I know those, the Atlanta, Chicago's, San Francisco's, LA's, those markets are tough, and it's tough to monitor. Yeah, Las Vegas counts. Come on, Brian.
All right, let me unmute myself. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, good deal. Yeah, so we just got approval to open up this last Friday in Las Vegas. And of course, everything in every state, county, completely different. Like some of the regulations I'm hearing Kate talk about, they just don't exist here, but we have, I'm sure, other regulations that she doesn't have to deal with in her area. We've seen a pretty good response already online for people who are excited that it's going to open. We have 2 parks that opened up right on the date. They only gave us 2 days notice, by the way, before that open date. So, they're definitely looking out for our best interest. But we do have other parks that will be opening out throughout the week as we're putting together plans for them to go together. One of the parks does have a soft play. We found that the parents are just going to self-regulate that by themselves. You don't have to worry too much about occupancy. Parents and kids and even occupants at the RIG Trampoline Park can take care of that by yourself. The biggest concern that we're running into, or that we're talking to, because we talk to a lot of park operators around the United States, is just the occupancy deal. You know, what can you do here in Las Vegas or Nevada, where if you're a family fun center, it's 50%. If you're a gym, it's 50 people, right? So it's weird how they're just going back and forth. And I'm pretty sure we can all agree that a lot of these regulations have just been pulled out of thin air. They're just guessing. And that is a horrible location or a horrible spot for our industry to be in. If we got together and created our own specifications and then began pushing those out to the politicians in your area, I think that would be far more efficient than if we wait for them to tell us what we need to do. Because a lot of our parks already are set up as clean parks, right? We already only allow one person per mat, which is 10-foot difference, if not 15 or 20, depending on the size of your mats, right, or your pads. And then even if you have other things like laser tag or gravity ropes courses or climbing walls, almost all of those have a 6-foot distancing. So instead of kind of creating new regulations, focus on the regulations that have already been built into a lot of your systems, right? Put that down in paper, put a header on it. I'm sure Scott and those guys at FunSpot would love to put their stamp on it as well. Like, here, we're a manufacturer. We know what keeps this clean. We know how this works. And then moving forward, right? Because it's not their fault. They don't know what they're doing either. They're trying to put this thing together. We're all trying to work through this together. So let's use the experts in this field to go ahead and create those guidelines. We have not seen anybody stop taking cash. That's with our clients all over the country. We have not seen anybody worry. Yeah, we do have an arcade, and we're not shutting off a lot of machines or anything like that. We're just cleaning them. And in the social distancing in the arcade, just put up some signs. In fact, take a look at your arcade. You'll see that a lot of your arcades are already distanced between the players. When they install a lot of those machines, they have to install so many feet for each player in those machines. So you may have to move some around if you want to gauge or get a little more distance between your machines. Mm-hmm. But I would say that you've already got most of it there. And then we have an employee who runs around and cleans them on the hour. I'm scared of the whole occupancy thing. Some of our clients listen to us up front, and we go for huge occupancies when we go into a building. The biggest number possible. They bark at us because it costs more in bathrooms and fees at the beginning. But in situations like this, it's fantastic because a lot of the parks that we have a park with 750 people occupancy. So we're able to open up a park with 300 some odd people in it at a time, which we think is going to happen in about a week and a half once people realize we're open.
Yeah, I would have to guess. Again, it's just a guess that, and Kat, you're kind of on the front lines bearing this out, that over time, and as we communicate with our local officials, especially our local ones, and try and move up the food chain to the state and beyond, but that people understand that we need to be able to increase our capacities, that we're managing them well, that we have rules and policies and procedures in place that protect the public, and that that we can handle 100 people in our park or 350 in a park the size of one of Brian's that he's consulted with. So I think that's really strong and good encouragement, Brian, that we just continue, even if we're not open, to begin to advocate for ourselves. And I want to take that as an action item myself to go back to Bethany, who I don't think's on this call, and just get some guidance from her and the IATP and really even the IAPA group, who's done a great job, advocating for our industry, at the federal level. So if you're not following, IATP or IAPA, I would strongly encourage you to get on LinkedIn and or hit their websites and sign up for their alerts. IAPA puts out a daily news that's just good information from all over the world on what's going on, and so it kind of helps you really keep your finger on the pulse of what's happening in different areas, so that you can pivot, to use an overused term, to what you might be doing in your park. So thanks.
If I could give one suggestion on any of those, if you start building together your plan for reopening and your operations, just be a little careful not to over-regulate yourself up front. You may find yourself getting into a lot of things that are just not sustainable in the near future. I love how Kate, and I think Mike even said something about this too, is they were mentioning the numbers. That's all we do all day long is talk about numbers, because it's important. You got to make sure that you can actually open according to the guidelines that you've set in your county, right? It may be smarter to stay closed and wait until some of those open up, or until you can actually speak to somebody who allows you to operate at a profitable margin. Being all over the country, we've already had individuals contact us two ways. Some people are looking to expand what they offer so they can expand the ability to make money in the park, right, with different attractions. And we have other parks, especially a lot of trampoline-only parks, that are contacting us for closing down or purchasing their parks. This is a really an emotional time for a lot of people. So I'm just saying, stick it out. It'll work. Just make sure you do the numbers and fight for the right things in here.
Yep, totally agree. Appreciate Brian as always.
Scott, we had a question from Luis. Is anyone planning on investing in new equipment? Do you feel the market might be shifting somewhere else?
I mean, from what Brian just said, people are contacting him and open it up to anybody who wants to raise their hand or comment.
Can I raise my hand on that one?
Yeah, I was going to speak.
Since I did just mention it, right?
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, they are. Right now, the industry is moving towards more of a all-inclusive type of package. Like if you see a lot of I don't know, if you look at a trampoline park that was put together like 6 years ago, we saw trampolines and a few things. But now, like Fun Spot, they do a phenomenal job making sure that there's more than just a bouncy mat, but that you do have some cool foam pits or airbags or zip lines or other attractions that are dragging people in. It was easy to make money in a trampoline park 5-10 years ago. This is just an accelerator to what was already happening. It's happened a few years before we expected it to happen. I was thinking that we were going to have 2 more years before we had the trampocalypse, where a bunch of parks closed down because that's all they are trampolines, right? Not everywhere. This is not cookie cutter. It doesn't fit everywhere. Some markets can hold just a trampoline park. But in larger markets, you do need more attractions, and we do have some people. We had some people use this opportunity to upgrade and add things to their parks. They see this as a restart.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Just in a general sense, we are having customers contact us, and this is a time where if they want to put in a piece of equipment, a wipeout, or some rugged interactive high 9 or sky pods or things like that, they don't have to worry about closing down. They're already closed down, so it's actually a good time if they had put aside that revenue. We are seeing leasing companies having some challenges on releasing money in banks until parks open. So if you're having to finance, that's a little more challenging. But yeah, I mean, then we're also seeing, and I wrote a LinkedIn post about this the other day, that just, it's very tough when you get an email and then the subject line is "we're done," basically in all caps, and a park that we built for some great people 18 months ago are having to just walk away from it because they just can't sustain it, and that's tough. And then that creates, okay, well, is there a secondary market for this equipment? Is there another owner operator that might come in and now run this park? All kinds of different questions. So there's lots of nuances to coming out of this time that create some opportunities for some people. And obviously it's a challenge for others where they're having to renegotiate and re-envision what the future is for them and their families.
So, did you see Betty's question, Scott,
Yeah.
Okay.
Betty, I think that's a question that's worth taking offline, but I think it does depend on your market, the attraction mix that you're going to put on. I would agree with Brian that a trampoline only park in most cases isn't something that you want to do, or even a karting only. I mean, we're seeing some really interesting combinations of attractions that I don't know that we would have thought about, even a couple of years ago. I imagine Brian may say something similar, and that is, again, karting and trampolines and virtual reality, cafes, just all kinds of different combinations of things. Soft play is something that we've seen a great increase. Kids soft play areas as a mix in the parks, where from our point of view as an organization, we're looking at how can we help clients provide a facility for 2 to 12, 2 to 13, 14, and have a kids 5 and under area where the 11, 12-year-olds are playing dodgeball and throwing dodgeballs at each other. So creating a facility that's multi-generational is something that I think is a good way to put it.
Yeah, there's a conversation going on in the comments section about thermometers, and Meredith was asking Brian, and because he has facilities across the country and everything, and he said that they're doing it in areas that it mandates it, but they're not really forcing that if anybody was in need of the temperature taking answer.
Yeah, I had to go to the doctor last week for an ear infection and got scanned and all the way through into the doctor, but I haven't seen it in any kind of retail environment yet. So it'll be interesting to see how local ordinances come to bear on each of our parks. So well, let me just kind of wrap up by again just hoping to give you guys a shot in the arm and say thank you for hanging in there. Thank you for what you do for your families, your staff, your communities. I hope that you're taking this opportunity to reach out and to care and be kind to those that are around in the best way that you know how. Not because it's marketing or that you will get a return, but because it's the right thing to do. And I think when we do the right thing, that the market rewards us. So keep doing that. If you have things that you would like to share or feel like would be valuable to other people, as you see, we have people from the UK, people over in Dubai. We had someone from Honduras. He may be on here today. So this isn't just a domestic call. And so there's some really neat opportunities to connect and to share. And I'm happy to do that. I do want to thank Kat very much for really kind of blazing the trail, getting open, and taking the time to share with us. So I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
No problem. And if any of you guys have any questions or, anything that you want to ask, I'm here. We're all a family. So. And
in the follow-up email, we'll put a link to your park so they can see your awesome park. They've got some of the best murals going on in their park in Cheyenne. So it's pretty cool. So hopefully you'll take some time to just check out her park. And then if you have any questions, email her. But with that, I'm going to say thank you very much. If there's a couple of you that want to stick around and just chit chat, I'll be on, Al and a couple others. So other than that, go have a great day and a good week.
Hey, Scott, one of the things that I wanted to talk about as we depart, kind of being new to being a park owner, the one challenge we had is we have a lease, so we didn't get any rent relief from, because honestly, the guy that owns the shopping center we're in, he didn't get any mortgage relief, so he didn't have anything to pass. So
sure.
So we understood that, and the water company for the city we're in is it's $250 just to be hooked up to the water every month, and you can't just unhook.
Right.
So I guess the moral of my story is insurance can be up to almost $10,000 in general liability. So what happened in North Carolina is you can have a camp. So everything's becoming a camp. All the gymnastics places, all their teams.
Oh, wow.
rock climbing place across the highway just opened up as camps, right? And what we've been told is camps are great for the parks, but they're really not where the bread and butter is. So the problem we have is how do we start to bridge this opening maybe as a camp? But if you kick the insurance in, all of a sudden this camp has to carry a lot more money. So we could end up actually losing more money if we open our doors than, believe it or not, how much money we're losing every day and every month right now. So we're kind of caught in the middle. We want to open up and kind of get into the community. We barely had our doors open for anybody to know we were here. So is anybody else experiencing that, where you're trying to make that decision on opening, but you're going to have additional costs? So I'm not afraid of the labor because that offsets with camp. And I'm already paying rent out of our pockets as partners anyway, so we're not going to lose any more that way. But the insurance is where we were going to get hit. So I'll just leave it open to you guys.
Yeah, no, that's great, and it's not something I've heard. I did see that you asked that early on, and I apologize for not getting it out there. But when you say camp, are you thinking that you open it up to 30 kids for the all day, and that's kind of your thing? You're not open to the public for hour by hour jumps. It's just
right. Well, you could, yeah. There's no definition of camps, so that's
I guess a camp could be a 2-hour camp.
Oh, everybody, you wouldn't believe how many camps are coming, but no, we already, if you look on our website, we already had somebody that is very good at camps, and she had already set up our camps for 10, smaller groups of 10 before COVID, actually. So we were going to have groups of 10, and we were going to run 2 groups of 10 separate from each other at the same time. And then in the afternoon, run 2 groups of 10, a little bit older kids. So we're basically going to run, I guess, up to 40 and do week-long camps, right? But because of COVID, the surveys, including our own survey that we sent out, and I know others have done the same thing, you ask these parents, what are your likelihood of bringing somebody back in the next, tomorrow when we open, or 1 to 3, 3 to 6. And the numbers are way off. So that's our challenge, is if we open part of our business, how do we financially survive through parks? So I was just curious if anybody else who owns a park is experiencing that kind of, can I partially open, and what do how do I offset those expenses? So I'll turn it back to you guys again.
Yeah, thanks, Mike. I appreciate that. And Al, can we take a note to maybe make a mention of that as a question? Because I think that's a really important topic for people to be able to feedback on.
What's that? I mean,
camping.
Camping. Okay.
Yeah, not camping, but opening up with camps. So, sure. I don't know if any of the other folks that are on here feel like they can, you can still comment or unmute yourself. I think it's a fantastic idea.
Yeah.
I had a quick question for you, Scott. I know that there's another big park in the, greater Atlanta area, or Kennesaw, Adventure Air, that opened already. Have you heard any feedback from that park or any parks in Georgia or in Atlanta and how they're doing capacity-wise? Are they getting customers?
So I've got some anecdotal feedback from a couple of those parks, and the anecdote is it's just slower than they expected, which is kind of what we heard a week or so ago as parks started to open. It's slow. I don't have exact numbers from them.
You were saying they were expecting like 25%. They got closer to 10.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. What park are you with, Ashley?
This is Wendy from Extreme Hop.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I was. There you go. I thought Ashley was highlighting there. Yeah. So you haven't opened up yet, Wendy, right?
No, but we are planning to on the 16th.
Okay.
But we're not sure how that's going to go. We're just going to try it.
Extension for healthcare.
Yeah, I do know that Airborne in Canton is one that has is likely not going to open back up. So, that was one of the sad emails I got last week. So any other thoughts on camps? I think Mike's comment was great.
Melissa has her hand raised.
Okay, go ahead, Melissa.
Hey, y'all. This is Melissa with Boost in Covington.
Hey.
Hey, so we just opened this week, and it has been slow, I would say, but I couldn't get on earlier. I was listening, but I was at my other business. And about parties, what we decided to do is we do parties separate from being open to the public. So we're doing parties from like 10 to 12 and 12 to 2, so it doesn't take up our capacity from the outside, and then we're open 2 to 8. So that's something that we're trying, and we have about 6 parties booked this weekend. But this is our first weekend being open, so we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I mean, that's a creative way to do it. And I think be really interested. We'll probably follow back up with you on an email to hear how that went.
Yeah.
Doing it that way, but it's still limiting capacity while, while allowing people to celebrate. So that's good. Is there somebody else? Anybody else? You can see people.
I did want to comment, Scott. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
Hey,
I thought I saw you kind of there for a second. Go ahead.
Oh, hey,
Yeah,
Ashley.
I'm with Frontier Trampoline Park here in Cheyenne.
Yeah.
But I wanted to what was it? Thomas was his last name. Just kind of reiterate because we did struggle with time frames. For the first week that we were actually open, we were open all day long from 10 a.m. until 8 p.m. And I'm not 100% sure if Kat, gave that information. But what we had done after that first week is we kind of took where our ticket sales were, the time frames, and what we had the most of. We came to the conclusion that it was, mostly in the afternoons, after naps and things like that for kids. So then we just kind of knocked it back down, and we gave our customers a shorter time frame to choose those online tickets. And since in doing that, there has been an increase on actually having 25 people per hour with that short distance. And until it kind of picks up a little bit more, then we might tack on another hour to that and open at noon instead of 1 o'clock. And that's kind of how we decided as a group, to kind of further that, because we definitely couldn't stay open from 10 a.m. until 8 p.m. like we started out.
Right.
We were just losing way more money that way. So that's kind of how we dealt with that, struggle, because it is. I mean, we don't like being open from 1 to 7, but it's just for the time being, that's where we're at. So that seemed to work for us. So
awesome. Well, thank you. And it was really great. Kat did a great job, by the way.
Yeah, thanks, Ashley.
Yeah, she did.
Yeah. I had a question for Melissa, actually. Melissa Kitchens. Whenever you guys first opened, you guys had a special program on a certain day for special needs, I think the autistic community. And I was wondering if, in the vein of the camps question, if you guys were able to revitalize that yet, or if that's in the plans, or do you know?
You're still muted, Melissa.
Yeah. Let's see here. I'll ask her to unmute. But either way, in the same vein of the
we'll follow up on that, Mike.
Yeah.
Would love to continue to hear your thoughts on that as you go. I mean, I think you got to crunch the numbers and decide if it makes sense to have 40 kids 5 days a week until you can open for real. And what's the staff look like for that? And you're feeding them. And I do know. I mean, in Georgia, as an operator, when we did camps, we had to jump through some hoops. We couldn't just, like you said, hanging the word camp created more problems than it was almost worth, because of the number of bathrooms you had to have, and there was a lot of different regulations to calling yourself a camp versus just being open to the public.
So 2 things. One, if you could just throw a hand up, like a thumbs up or whatever. But Luis suggested that we do a similar forum, like a part 2 of this, in about 2, maybe 3 weeks, while more people are open. So we've got a couple. Yeah. So if you guys are interested in that, like Scott said, we're always looking for what is best for you guys. So we see a lot of thumbs. So Scott, we might want to do a part 2 of this in a couple
Totally
of weeks.
agree. And next week, just so you know, next week we have Cheryl Bendeglass, who's been on a couple of our calls, and she's gonna talk specifically to kind of the whole idea of camp and how do you sell the groups in this new era? I mean, again, as a park operator for 6 years, the summers were full of 50 to 200 groups of kids coming in on buses, over and over and over again. Well, if that can't happen, what do you do, and how do you try and sell and book that? So Cheryl's done a lot of thinking and has a lot of experience in this industry, so she's going to share about that as well next Tuesday town hall. So somebody did have their hand up. I don't remember.
Kelsey Lewis has her hand up.
Go ahead, Kelsey. What's up? I can hear you.
Let me trying to unmute, but it's only there you go.
Kelsey?
Am I there?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was wondering, over here in Hawaii, what they're kind of doing is they're letting stores open up, let groups open up. We haven't opened. We may be able to open up around the 19th because they consider us with gyms, and we're getting ready to open. But they're doing 50% of capacity of the building, which kind of works for us because we got 32,000 square foot facilities. We can only put 100 people on the trampolines at a time, anyway. So 50% of our capacity is 150. So I don't think we'll get any restrictions on that part. But have you seen where the attendance is there? The people want to come in. It's what we want to see.
If attendance is down?
Is attendance down when everyone's that are open, they have opened up so far, have they seen the attendance come down?
Yeah, so what the general feedback has been that, in some places they're limiting the total number of people in the building. Like our first person that was talking, Kat in Cheyenne, Wyoming, they're only allowed to have 25 people. It's not a percentage. For those that, can be either open or open at a lower capacity, they are seeing a trend that more and more people are coming week over week. So I think in general, it's positive news. It's just not at the starting place that we'd like it to be. So it's just going to take us a little longer to get there.
Yeah, and Brian said slow start, but people are coming in. So, there was a question here that I believe Wendy asked it. When is the heaviest traffic in the day? If anybody can answer that.
Yeah, I think what the Frontier folks said is, it's afternoon, and that's typical in any park. I mean, your afternoons are busier, especially in the summer. The kids get up, they do their chores. They watch the movie, they eat some cereal at 11, they eat lunch, then they come in at 1. So that's a pretty typical trend. That's why camps are so important to summer business, is because the camps come, at 10 to 12 and 12 to 2, and then you open up your park. And so it makes a whole lot of sense to open up, exactly like Hayden said, after 2. Yeah. Awesome. Guys, I absolutely love this, but I have to hop off. I can let Al keep going if you guys want to keep talking, but I've got to get ready for another call. I can't tell you how much it does my heart good. Like I told you when I kicked off, it's been a rough day and a half, but I'm energized and encouraged and appreciate you guys sticking in there and engaging. So I've got to hop off and get ready for a call and prepare for it. So I hope you'll have a great day, and we'll look forward to next week with Cheryl. Be prepared.